think they did a pretty good job. They informed the public that it was going to be happening. There was plenty of signage up. They have amended the signs since, so I think there's not a lot more you can do. It was a known fact it was going to be happening.
No, I've not been aware. But yeah, someone wants doing anyway. Actually, there's not many cars about anyway. Actually, there's more cars going across than buses.
Well, I've seen the notices reminding motorists that it's in operation, and I've heard people grumbling about it and being paid fines, having to pay fines for driving through.
It was before Christmas actually when I first became aware of it. I don't actually drive through the centre, so it's not affected me, but I'm a member of some groups and things on the internet, and I know it's been all kicking off around the Preston area about it, with people getting fined and things.
It's been revealed that more than £1.3 million worth of fines have been given to more than 20,000 people in just 2 months for using the new Fishergate bus lane. The restrictions were introduced in October last year and are in place between 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. on 2 sections of the road. But the fines have caused some debate on whether the changes were made clear enough in the first place.
From what I've seen from the pictures and on the TV, it seemed pretty straightforward.
People are claiming that there aren't enough signs. I would have thought it's very well signposted, and I'm not even a driver, you see, and I've noticed that the signs are up there. I could imagine someone who occasionally visits Preston, say to shop, would come unstuck much more likely than a commuter who's coming every day.
We had been to Preston once before and stayed in the Premier Inn in Fox Street, and we'd had no problem getting to where my son was at university. I made several journeys to the university, but 2 of them I made when they had restrictions in place, the time restrictions in place, not that I knew about it. The signs hadn't changed as you left Fox Street and turned right into Fishergate. So I'd made 2 journeys, and when I got home a couple of weeks later, 2 fixed penalty notices had arrived on my doormat, and I immediately thought, this is so unfair, but paid them.
They're trying to get money out of the weakest. They're trying to get money out of us. Yeah, they're lining their bloody pockets.
I have seen people comment very angrily, and I know that I believe the council did a moratorium on the fines for a while about that. It's road to load off, but I know it's back in force again now.
The battle over Preston's controversial city centre bus lanes has stepped up a gear. 6 drivers are appealing against fines they received days after the new rules came into force last November, had their cases heard at a special tribunal.
My husband listened to the radio late one evening and heard that the appeal had been heard and the Fishergate scheme had been upheld, so they were going to have to repay everybody's fines. They just said they'd be paying back the first fixed penalty that anybody had received. I felt, because I'd had 2 fines on the same day not far apart, that it was probably only fair that I hadn't had the opportunity to learn from my first mistake, that I'd done wrong, and so I thought it would be fair to appeal both fines. We heard again on the radio that you could appeal it, so that's what we did. I waited to hear, I heard nothing for quite some months. Then finally I did get a response after sending another email, and they said that with compelling evidence, the evidence that I'd provided, they felt that they could repay the second fine as well.
I applaud Lancashire County Council on the one hand, because after the tribunal for the 6 people that appealed found in their favour, they accepted that and were able to say that they will then offer it to everybody else. But that's when I feel my support what they did ends, because then it's a question of equity. If you're a council, you've admitted that all people who paid fines have done so wrongly, and they should have just refunded through to the relevant bank accounts all those payments. But instead they said it's on an ask-only basis. Well, if you don't live in the local area, you're only going to find out by accident. And even those in the local area, if you don't listen to certain news outlets.
Yeah, I think it's extremely lucrative, yes. We know that the county council are in financial difficulties at the moment, so and obviously Preston Council, so it makes sense to raise revenue where you can. So I do feel it is a little bit, unethical, should I say.
I mean, aren't these flat rate fines the same everywhere? If you use a bus, drive along a bus lane when you shouldn't?
don't drive in bus lanes. Simple as that, isn't it?
I understand now that the Fishergate scheme is back in place, but I have been told that the signage is different, but certainly I'll be a lot more careful looking out for these signs, and now I have the knowledge that there is this bus scheme in place. I won't be driving along Fishergate if I can help it.
Some are miles away. I mean, there are notices all the way along Avonham Lane, which is quite a way away from here, warning motorists that the new system's in operation and that the cameras are working.
Overall, I'm someone that's in favour of bus lanes. I think that they reduce congestion, and I think that's the aim, to reduce congestion and hopefully to make traffic flow more easily, and certainly with the levels of pollution caused by cars, I think if they can get traffic flowing more quickly, I'm in favour of it. And it has the benefit for the pedestrians in the area and the shoppers. It makes it a nice place for people to shop if the cars aren't there.
This zone that you're talking about was frequently completely blocked, and at one stage they were paying 3 or 4 blokes in high-vis jackets to sort of frantically wave cars, down side roads and to stop, and a bit like old-fashioned traffic policemen, and it was just ridiculous.
To be fair, I mean, certainly Preston Council and the Lancashire County Council have tried to make a bit of effort into making the town centre a bit more impressive and a nicer place to shop. I think, to give credit to them, the pedestrianised area here, what they've done with the pavement and things, fantastic and was needed. I think this aspect hasn't worked very well, and the bottom end of the Fishergate planning and the road system there has been a bit of a mess. So I just don't think that they're willing to backtrack on that spend, and that's why they're trying to push something forward that doesn't work very well.
I think encouraging more people to use public transport is important. The less car usage, the better, really. So yeah, I think it's important that something like that's done. Yeah.